Everyone, I am Sruthy from Department of Commerce, University of Kerala, Karivattam campus. I am second year postgraduate student. The topic of my presentation is emerging trends in banking sector with special reference to digitization. Banking sector is experiencing the phase of commoditization. In the present pattern, separated and good client experience has become more significant and critical undertaking than simply giving money related administrations. To get a greater bit of the market, banking industry needs to comprehend and fulfill the implicit needs of the client, the manner in which aircrafts comprehends the inclinations and the requirements of long-standing customers or the retailers comprehend the preference or taste of their clients without even taking direct criticism from their client. Digitization is a long ways past simply moving from conventional or disconnected banking to a computerized world. And next we move on to the objectives of the study. Major objectives of my study is, first one is to analyze the proficiency of technological based products offered by the banks in India and the effect of digitization on economic development, and second one to study the challenges faced by the banking sector. The research methodology I used to conduct my study is based on secondary source of data, which includes articles, magazines and journals. And next we move on to the recent trends in banking sector. The first trend which is implemented in banking sector is augmented reality. Immersive technologies such as augmented or virtual and mixed reality are enhancing customer experiences across the board. The possibilities of the implementation of augmented reality technology in banking sector are the only limited by imagination, though these are still in a very early stage of development. The end state is to give customers complete autonomy in actions and transactions they could perform at home. Hybrid branches are envisioned by technology experts who believe that the branch has also we know them today are as a thing of past. One of the implementation of augmented reality technology in banking sector that is already live has been made by the Commonwealth Bank of Australia. They have created a rich date augmented reality application for their customers who were looking to buy or sell at a home. It provides them with information like current listing, recent sales and price tendencies to help the customers make better decisions. And the second recent advancement is blockchain technology. Blockchain is a catch-all phrase which is used to describe distributed ledger technologies. And also it allows multiple parties to access the same data simultaneously and at the same time ensures the integrity and immutability of the records entered in the database. At present, leading banks around the world are exploring proof of concept projects across various aspects of banking and financial services. The first major implementations that we are likely to see in the areas for clearing and settlement. Another major area in which banks will see a huge savings by using blockchain technology is KYC operations, which is known as Know Your Customer norms. Business model being developed at the moment would turn KYC from a cost center into a profit center for banks, as they would come to rely on a shared blockchain for this activity. And the next trend which is used in banking sector is that robotic process automation, which means the volume of unstructured data that the bank has to process is increasingly exponentially with the rise of the digital economy. This is not just banking transaction data but also other behavioral data that could be potentially allow the banks to improve and innovate customer experiences. This has made bankers realize that they need to find technologies that can mimic human action and judgment but at a higher speed, scale and quality. The answers that has emerged is a combination of various technologies that enable cognitive and robotic process automation in banking. These technologies consist of machine learning, natural language processing, chatbots, robotic process automation, and intelligent analytics in banking, which allows the bots to learn and improve. And we could see so many benefits while introducing the robotic process automation in banking industry. Here there are some of the benefits of robotic process automation, which is reduced burden on IT, reliability, cost cutting technology, no coding required, accurate, high productivity rate, compliance and consistent in nature. And the next trend which is used in banking sector is quantum computing. Quantum computing is a way of using quantum mechanics to work out complex data operations. As is common knowledge today, computers use bits can have only two types, that is which has only two values, 1 or 0. Quantum computing uses quantum bits that can instead have three states, 1 or 0 or both. This unlocks exponential computing power over traditional computing when the right algorithm is used. This represents a huge leap in computing power, but any commercial implementations are still decades away. And the next one is potential use of cases of quantum computing in banking and financial services. These are the uses where we can apply quantum computing in banking field. The first one is portfolio analysis, second fraud detection, third optimization, fourth quantum proofing of cyber security system, fifth one high frequency trading, sixth one asset valuation, and the seventh one is clustering. And the next trend in banking sector is artificial intelligence. The explosive growth that the last decade has seen in the amount of structured and unstructured data available with the banks, combined with the growth of cloud computing and machine learning technologies, has created a perfect form for artificial intelligence to be used across the spectrum of banking and financial service landscape. Business needs and capabilities of AI implementations have grown up hand in hand, and also banks are looking at artificial intelligence as a differentiator to beat down the emerging competition. Artificial intelligence allows banks to use the large histories of data that can be captured to make better decisions across various functions, including backup operations, customer experience, marketing, product delivery, risk management, and compliance. And next recent trend in banking sector is hybrid cloud. As we all know, hybrid cloud is one of the biggest challenges that the digital age has brought to banking industry is the need to respond quickly. The constantly evolving market that has operated in requires them to be as agile as possible. They need to be able to provide resources across the enterprise in a timely manner to address business problems faster. High-performing banks have discovered that the most cost-effective way of achieving this is through an enterprise-wide hybrid cloud. This allows them to pick benefits of both public and private while addressing issues like data security, governance, and compliance, along with the ability to mobilize large resources in a matter of minutes. Hybrid cloud also allows banks to offer innovative new offering to its customers. Say for example, ICICI Bank has partnered with Zoho to allow business to automate the basic reconciliation process through Zoho Books, a cloud accounting software. The partnership does away with the need for data entry and also makes it easier to offer multiple payment options to the consumers. And the other innovations in banking sector, apart from the items which is stated before, there are yet some more innovations which has been introduced in banking sector. The first innovation is e-check service, or it is also known as electronic check service or electronic payment service. An e-check is an electronic archive which replaces the paper check for online exchanges. Advanced marks which can be changed into transcript marks. The e-check framework is arranged with message replicativity, verification, and non-repetition highlights sufficient to secure extortion against the banks and their clients. The e-check is fit with intelligent web exchanges or with email and doesn't rely upon continuous connections or on outside approvals. It is considered to work with paper e-check practices and frameworks with least sway on payers, payee, banks, and the monetary framework. And the next innovations in banking sector is electronic fund transfer, that is EFT. EFT is where an individual or a company who needs to make installment to someone else or organization and so on can move towards his bank and make money installment or give guidelines to move reserves straightforwardly from his own record to the financial balance of the collector. EFT is the generally utilized exchange manner by which cash is legitimately saved straight into representative's ledger and also for moving supports quickly and in exact manner we need to complete subtitles. Say for example, the beneficiary's name, financial balance number, account type, etc. EFT additionally gives helpful assets moving starting with one record then on to the next inside a second. It kills the needs of expressly visiting banks for their exchanges. And the third innovation introduced in banking sector is real-time gross settlement (RTGS). RTGS has been presented in India in March 2004. It is a framework through which electronic directions can be given by banks to move assets from their record to another record of another bank. The RTGS framework is safeguarded and worked by the RBI and gives methods for efficient and quicker supports more given among banks, encouraging their money-related tasks. As it were, reserves move between banks happen on an ongoing premise. Hence, cash can arrive at the recipient in a split second and the recipient's bank has a commitment to credit the recipient's account inside 2 hours. And the fourth innovations in banking sector is automatic teller machine (ATM), which is we all are familiar with this term and we all have already used this type of innovations in banking sector. ATM is the most well-known broadly utilized gadget in India, which gives the clients to pull back their cash 24 hours every day, 7 days per week. Client who has an ATM card can utilize this gadget to perform routine financial exchanges without interfacing with a human teller. Alongside the money withdrawal, ATMs can likewise be utilized for installments of service charges, reserves, move between accounts, store of checks and money into accounts, balance enquiry, etc. And the fifth innovation in banking sector is phone banking. Bank on Mobile gives simple access for clients to have enormous and different organizations through phones. Information are traded over the cell phones with respect to any questions to give directions on balance move, proclamation of record, checkbook, stop installments, new plans, etc. And the next innovations in banking sector is electronic clearing services, that is ECS. ECS presented by RBI in 1995, which is similar to automated clearing house framework. ECS has two variations, say for example ECS debit clearing administrations and ECS credit clearing services. ECS debit works on the standard of single credit debit and it's utilized by utility specialist organizations for assortment of power charges, phone bills and different charges, and furthermore by banks for assortment of head and premium reimbursement. And ESS credit handles mass and dull installment requirements of corporate and different establishments, and it is utilized for exchange like installment of pay, profit, benefits and so on. And the seventh innovations which is introduced in banking sector is telebanking. Telebanking helps the client to do whole non-money related banking via phone. By utilizing this device, automatic voice recorder is utilized for more straightforward questions and exchanges. Kept and ion telephone terminals are utilized for confused questions and exchanges. And next we move on to the challenges faced by banking sector. As we all know, in our banking sector there are facing some challenges and these are discussed below. The first challenge is customer satisfaction or loyalty. Today, clients are more worth arranged in their administrations since they have elective options in it. Thus, every single bank needs to take care about the satisfaction of clients' fulfillment. And the second challenge is to provide a few personal services. The current occasions requested that banks are to give a few administrations for which they need to scope in administration, social managing, an account with money related prospects, and in specific degree computerization and the creative automation. And the third challenge is NPA, which is non-performing assets. NPA are another challenge to the banking area. Vehicle credits and unstable advances expands NPA, which term half of bank's retail portfolio, which was likewise hit because of upward development in financing tools and limitations on assortment practices and taking of land costs. And the fourth challenge is competition. The banking sector is facing lots of competitions nowadays. The nationalized banks and business banks have the opposition from the unfamiliar and new private part banks. Rivalry in banking part brings different difficulties before the banks, say for example item suiting, imaginative thoughts and channels, new market patterns, strategically pitching and so forth. Banks are controlling their authoritative folio by changing labor into machine power. Say, for example, banks are diminishing manual powers and combining greatest works through machine power. And the fifth challenge is managing technology. Developing or obtaining the correct innovation, conveying it ideally and at the point utilizing it to the most extreme degree is fundamental to accomplish and keep up high assistant and proficiency principles while remaining savvy and conveying supportable comeback. And the sixth challenge is government ownership. At present, the government is the proprietor of around 3/4 of the absolute resources in the financial framework. On the possession issues, advocates of private part banks advocate that government ought to diminish its proprietorship stake in the open segment banks as private segment banks score over open area banks in gainfulness and productivity. Be that as it may, comprehensively over a long period of time, the presentation of open area banks have joined with that of new private sector banks. And the seventh challenge faced by the banking sector is gaps in the flow of credit. A high extent of socially and financially oppressed segments of society in India moved in the casual monetary exercises since more than 60 for every penny of India's populace lives in provincial zones. This area holds the significance because of developing blurry linkages among the casual and formal financial exercises. And the major conclusion of my study is that the banking sector is presently watching another flood of advancements with developments in the space, particularly with the creation of prepaid wallets. Indian banking industry has shown noteworthy versatility during the arrival time frame. The subsequent age returns will assume an essential job in further foundation of the framework. Indian financial framework will additionally create in size and multifaceted nature while assuming as a huge job as specialist of financial development and mixing various areas of the money related plans. And also reception of thorough prudential standards and higher capital guidelines better hazard the board frameworks, appropriation of all-around acknowledged bookkeeping, rehearsals and expanded exposures and straightforwards will protect the Indian banking industry's pace with other proper banking frameworks. These are the references which I used to conduct my study. Thank you.